Lightning tore across the sky, illuminating a patch of Amazon rainforest where the wind howled and the rain lashed the ground. The old trees were straining against the fury of nature, but not all creatures were strong enough to withstand the storm. Beneath a fallen tree, in the muddy ground, 3 Sumatran tiger cubs were huddled together. They were so small that they were almost lost in the darkness, their bright yellow eyes scanning the area in panic. But their mother, their only refuge, was gone. Can you imagine? One moment, they were warm in her arms, protected by her gentle breath. Now, there was only loneliness, cold rain, and the darkness that threatened to engulf them. What would happen to these 3 fragile creatures? At the Wilson Ecological Research Station, the rare electric lights in the stormy night cast shadows on worried faces. Dr. Ethan Cole, a biologist with over 20 years of experience, pressed the phone to his ear, his voice urgent. "They're dying. If we don't save them now, tomorrow morning will be too late." The call from a local made Ethan's heart sink. 3 tiger cubs, only a few weeks old, were abandoned in the middle of the forest during the worst storm of the year. Without their mother, they wouldn't survive the night. But what made Ethan freeze was a small detail the man had just said. There was a dog. It was there, never leaving the 3 tigers' side. A dog? In the middle of the Amazon rainforest? Ethan frowned. This didn't sound right at all. There was no time to ask questions. Ethan rushed into the rescue team. The rain was still pouring down, as if it wanted to wipe out the entire forest, but they couldn't wait. Footsteps crushed the rotting leaves. Flashlights scanned the darkness, only to see fallen trees and rushing waters roaring through the forest. With every second that passed, the chance of survival narrowed. Then, they saw a small figure. At the base of the broken tree, 3 tiger cubs huddled in the mud, dirty and shivering. They barely had the strength to breathe. But that wasn't what made Ethan freeze. A stray golden retriever, covered in mud, eyes bright in the rain, was snuggling close to the 3 cubs as if trying to give them the last of its warmth. Do you believe in the instinct of maternal love? That love is not limited by species or predatory instincts? The dog, called Luna, was not a tiger, did not have sharp claws to protect them, and did not have milk to feed them. But it had the most important thing, a heart. In the pouring rain, Luna licked each tiger's forehead, her eyes as gentle as a mother's comforting her frightened cubs. When a cub whimpered, Luna snuggled closer, warming them with her body. Ethan held his breath. Never in his 20 years of science had he witnessed such a sight. A future predator, an abandoned dog, unconditional love. This was life, a miracle of nature. The 3 tigers were dying. Their breathing was weak. If they weren't rescued soon, they wouldn't last until morning. "We need to move now," Ethan shouted. A rescue team member stepped forward to pick up the 3 tigers, but Luna immediately growled, leaping in front of them. Her eyes were alert, as if afraid that anyone could hurt her children. At that moment, everyone was silent. Luna was no longer a stray dog. She was a mother, and this mother would not easily give up her children. Ethan bent down, looking straight into Luna's eyes. He held out his hand, slowly, as if promising, "I will not hurt them. I will save them. But we have to do this together." The moment lasted as long as a breath. Then, something magical happened. Luna calmed down, timidly stepping aside, but still watching the 3 cubs like a worried mother. Ethan gently picked them up one by one, wrapping them in warm towels. The rescue team quickly checked their health. The 3 tigers were dying, but they still had a glimmer of hope. But most importantly, they were no longer alone. Because there was the strangest mother in the world still protecting them. A storm, a rescue that seemed impossible, a stray dog with a heart bigger than any creature on earth. But have you ever wondered, what will happen next? Will these 3 tiger cubs survive? Will they grow up to be wild beasts? Will Luna become their mother? If you have followed this far, it proves that you also have a seed of love in your soul. You believe in love, in compassion, in the miracles that nature can bring. Click like if you believe that every creature in this world deserves to be loved, because this story is just the beginning. Imagine, you are abandoned in a cold world with no shelter, no one waiting. You are hungry, tired, and lonely. No one comes to save you. That is the life of Luna, a stray dog wandering in the Amazon rainforest, with no family, no home, and no one to love. A forgotten creature in the vast nature, living on scraps of food, hiding from predators, not knowing what tomorrow will bring. But now, Luna is no longer alone. In front of her are 3 small creatures, much weaker than herself. The 3 tiger cubs are trembling, searching for something they have lost forever, a mother. They don't know who Luna is. Luna doesn't understand why she is here. But at that moment, in the middle of the room, filled with the soft yellow light of the rescue center, an instinct arises, stronger than any storm out there. Luna bent down and gently licked each cub's forehead, as if to tell them, it's okay. Mommy's here. The first few days were a challenge. The 3 tigers were too weak to move, breathing heavily. They were given IV fluids and warmed up. But despite everything the rescue team did, their heartbeats were as fragile as a flame in a strong wind. And then, the unexpected happened. Luna snuggled close to the 3 cubs, holding them close to her all night. When one cub twitched slightly, Luna licked its belly, like a mother soothing a colicky baby. 4 hours later, the tiger's breathing had stabilized. 6 hours later, they began to stir. 8 hours later, one opened its eyes and looked at Luna. And instead of being afraid, it nuzzled into her chest, as if it had found something familiar. The rescuers were stunned. A dog is saving 3 tiger cubs with love? But the miracle doesn't stop there. 7 days have passed. From fragile creatures standing on the edge of life and death, the 3 tiger cubs gradually found life again. They no longer tremble. They are no longer silent like lifeless stones. And the most special thing, they start following Luna. Have you ever seen a pack of tigers following a dog? It is a sight that makes anyone surprised. Whenever Luna moved, the 3 tigers immediately followed, their little legs trying to keep up with their mother's steps. When Luna stops, they stop too. When Luna growls softly, they understand that they must be in order. No need for language. No need for wild instinct. Just the invisible connection between a mother and her cubs. But in that joy, there is still a quiet anxiety that covers the reserve. The 3 tigers are growing up fast. They are no longer small creatures that can be held in the arms. Soon their claws will grow longer. Soon their sharp teeth will be enough to kill their prey. Soon their hunting instincts will rise. Ethan and the research team watch the 3 tigers playing with Luna, a big question in their hearts. Will they forget their instincts? Will one day they hurt their mother? No one has an answer. But if you are following this far, it means you also believe in love, in compassion, in miracles that exist in this world. You understand that sometimes the most beautiful things are the things that cannot be explained. If you are also touched by this story, click like. Not for Luna, not for the three tigers, but for you, a person who still believes that love can change fate. Time passed. The three tigers were now bigger, stronger. But what surprised the whole reserve the most was not their size, but their strange behavior, never seen before in any tiger species. When a tiger cub tried to bite another's leg, Luna just looked at them sternly, and they immediately stopped, like children afraid of being scolded by their mother. When a tiger tried to grab a piece of meat, but Luna growled softly, it immediately backed away, accepting to give up its food. A tiger, an apex predator, was learning to be patient, learning to love, learning to share. Can you believe it? A species that was born to hunt was being taught by a creature 100 times weaker than it, not by fangs, not by force, but by love, protection, and compassion. When they're old enough to hunt, fight, and rule the forest on their own, will they still remember the little mother who once warmed them in the storm? Can love overcome instinct? Or will Luna one day have to face the cruelest truth of nature? The answer is still ahead. But one thing is certain, Luna has changed them forever. And if you have followed this far, we believe that you also have a big heart like Luna. You understand that love is not limited by species, boundaries, or instincts. Click like, because this world needs more stories of love and compassion. And don't miss the next part, because the journey of Luna and the three tigers is not over yet. Have you ever been on the thin line between love and instinct? Have you ever loved someone so much that you forgot they were meant to be something else? That is the story of Luna and her three tiger cubs. A story of an unlikely bond, of a mother-child relationship that transcends species boundaries, but also a story of an inevitable truth. Time never stands still, and at some point, the cubs will have to step out into their real world. 2 years have passed. The 3 weak tiger cubs have now become giant beasts, weighing over 200 kilograms, with colorful, striped fur and powerful muscles. But there is a big problem, a problem that makes the entire rescue team suffocate with worry. Kai, Suri, and Jax do not act like wild tigers. They are not afraid of humans. When people approach, they didn't growl or back away, but instead, they rubbed their heads against their hands like big house cats. They didn't know how to hunt. When a deer ran by, their instincts should have made them run. But no. They just stood there, confused. They still clung to Luna, as if they had forgotten that they weren't dogs. The rescue team watched them. No one dared to say it out loud, but deep down, they knew what was coming. If they don't learn to be tigers, they won't survive in the wild. Dr. Ethan's words echoed through the meeting. Silence filled the room. No one wanted to face the truth, but it was there, stark and unavoidable. Kai, Suri, and Jax needed to leave Luna. Can you imagine? One day, you have to leave the person who raised you, who protected you, who taught you to love and to care, only to step into a strange world where you don't belong. But the lives of the 3 tigers cannot be like this forever. And that is why the old tiger, Selena, appeared. Selena was a wild tigress who lived in the wild, a true warrior of the jungle. With scars on her body and sharp eyes that witnessed countless battles for survival, she was unlike any creature the 3 tigers had ever encountered. That day, the iron door opened. Kai, Suri, and Jax, now taller than Luna, entered the wildlife sanctuary where the tiger, Selena, was standing tall, her cold eyes observing them. Luna stood outside the fence, watching anxiously. The entire rescue team held their breath. Selena was nothing like Luna. She wasn't a mother. She was a survivor. So what happens when three tigers raised with love encounter a being that only knows the rules of survival? Kai was the first to step forward. His golden eyes met Selena's cold ones. Not a sound. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Boom! Selena charged like a bolt of lightning. Kai was startled, quickly retreating. But it was too late. A powerful blow from Selena's huge paw landed directly on Kai's head. The whole atmosphere froze. Suri and Jax shrieked in fear, their instincts forcing them to retreat. But Kai didn't have time to react. He could only lower his head, trembling, like a child who had just been scolded by his mother. Selena growled with authority. Not a scratch, not a drop of blood. She didn't kill Kai. She trained it. After the first blow, something strange happened. Kai, Suri, and Jax began to change. They began to imitate Selena, watching how she moved, how she hunted, how she crouched low to the ground before pouncing on her prey. They learned to growl, to swing their claws, to defend their territory. For the first time, they saw a deer and charged. The rescue team watched them from a distance, and Ethan whispered, "Their instincts never went away. They just forgot." But no matter how strong they were, no matter how much they began to adapt to their wild nature, when night fell, the three tigers would return, snuggling up to their little mother. Luna was still their home. Do you think love could overcome instinct? Do you think that creatures born to hunt can live forever on love? Because soon, Kai, Suri, and Jax will have to choose. They will have to leave Luna forever, or stay and forget the world they belong to. But what if one day their instincts take over in a way no one expected? One day, they no longer recognize Luna as their mother, but as a smaller, weaker animal, prey. The cruel truth of nature is coming closer than ever. We believe that you are a person with a very big heart, someone who understands that love can change the world, but also understands that life is never as simple as we wish. If you are also moved by this story, please click share, not only to support the story of Luna and the three tigers, but to remind us that we still believe in the magic of compassion. Have you ever felt a storm coming? Not the storm you see in the sky, but the invisible storm, creeping in with every breath, every gust of wind, every vague sense of the inevitable? That was the feeling Luna had that day. Even though the sky was still blue, even though the sun was still filtering through the dense foliage of the reserve, Luna knew. She sensed something was changing. Instincts never lie. And then, the real storm came. Not just in nature, but in the hearts of what had once been family. Kai, Suri, and Jax had changed since meeting Selena. They were no longer the young tigers clinging to Luna. They traveled with Selena, learning to hunt, learning to growl, learning to claim territory. Ethan and the rescue team watched them from afar, feeling like they were witnessing a new chapter unfolding, but also the end of something beautiful that had once existed. Then one day, it happened. That morning, Luna approached the fence as usual, where Kai, Suri, and Jax usually cuddled together. But this time, no one came running. Luna looked through the bars, calling them with her eyes, but the three tigers only stared back, not moving forward. Beside them, Selena stood tall, not taking her eyes off. Ethan clenched his fist. Was that it? This was the moment Luna lost her cubs? But what no one expected was still ahead. The Amazon storm came, cruel and unexpected. Dark clouds swirled in the sky. Lightning tore through the air. Wind howled through the forest, tearing the trees as if they were nothing more than fragile leaves. The rain poured down faster than any storm in decades. When Ethan and the rescue team rushed to the sanctuary, they witnessed a horrifying scene. The large river, where Kai, Suri, and Jax often drank, had turned into a raging waterfall, sweeping away everything in its path. And right in the middle of the rapids, Selena was swept away. The entire sanctuary froze in panic. Ethan screamed. The rescue team hurriedly prepared lifelines, but the water flowed too fast, and no one could reach it in time. Kai, Suri, and Jax stood on the bank, roaring in panic, not knowing what to do. But before anyone could react, a figure rushed down. Luna, without hesitation, without fear, it jumped into the floodwaters as if there was no other choice, as if saving Selena was inevitable. Luna swam with all her might, struggling against the raging water, mud splashing on her face. But she did not stop. Selena, though a strong warrior, the flood was too fierce even for a full-grown tiger. The entire rescue team held their breath, watching from afar, some of them crying. It was a battle with nature, and Luna was betting her life. Ethan shouted into the walkie-talkie, "Get ready to pull them up as soon as you get the chance." Luna finally reached Selena. Despite the relentless current, she bit Selena's nape, pulling her up, just like a mother pulling her child out of danger. But then a huge wave hit them both. Luna was swept away. Only Selena was pulled to shore, exhausted but alive. But Luna was nowhere to be seen. No one said a word. No one dared to move. Ethan felt his heart sink, as if a boulder were pressing down on it. Kai, Suri, and Jax stood still. They stared down at the rushing water, eyes unblinking. Did they understand what had just happened? Did they realize that the one who had raised them, protected them, had sacrificed herself for another tiger? No one knew. Only one thing was certain. Luna was gone. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes. The entire sanctuary was in a state of near despair. And then, a rescue team member shouted, "I saw her! I saw Luna!" In the distance, where the water was slowly dying down, a small figure was struggling to walk up the bank. Luna, weary, mud stuck to her fur, but still alive. The rescue team erupted in cheers. Kai, Suri, and Jax rushed forward, surrounding Luna, nuzzling their heads into their mother's body, as if they had just realized something they had not understood in the past 2 years. Do you believe that love can change fate? Do you believe that a small, weaker creature, without fangs or claws, can become the hero of an apex predator? If you have followed this far, it proves that you are a person with a great heart, a person who believes in love, in the simple miracles in life. Comment below to tell me how you feel about Luna, because this story is not over yet. One day, Kai, Suri, and Jax will have to leave. Will they still remember Luna when that day comes? Or will they one day become true predators and forget the love that once held them back? The answer is still ahead. A vast, quiet forest under the red sunset. The wind gently rustles through the trees, carrying the breath of wild nature. On a high cliff, 3 majestic figures stand silently looking down at the reserve below. Kai, Suri, Jax. The Sumatran tigers are now grown, strong, and majestic. But their eyes are no longer those of simple predators. They are watching a smaller, weaker creature, but the most important in their lives. Down there, on the green grass, Luna, their little mother, is walking leisurely in the late afternoon sunlight. Her golden fur has faded a bit. Her steps are no longer as agile as before. She doesn't look up at the cliff, but she knows they are there, just as they had when they were little and snuggled close to her for warmth. They still watched over her now, even though they were worlds apart. Kai, Suri, and Jax were now the rulers of the forest, but every time a gentle breeze blew, every time rain pattered on the leaves, every time moonlight shone on the stream where Luna had taught them to drink, a memory lived on in them. A memory of a mother, without sharp claws, without fearsome fangs, but with a heart bigger than anyone else. They never forgot. Ethan once said, "This story has changed the way we understand maternal love in the animal world, but maybe it has also changed the way we understand ourselves." So, what did you learn from this story? Do you believe that love can change the fate of a creature? Would you believe that a little dog could teach 3 tigers to love instead of just hunt? Time doesn't stop for anyone. Luna is older. Her days of roaming with her tiger cubs are behind her, but there are still other creatures in the world that need her. One day, Ethan gets a call from a tiger reserve in India. They are trying to save motherless tiger cubs, creatures that are on the brink of death, just like Kai, Suri, and Jax. They need a mother, and who better to do it than Luna? The day Luna left, the Amazon reserve became quieter than ever. No one knows what the 3 tigers did that day. No one saw them for hours. But as the sun set, 3 large figures appeared on the familiar hill where they always stood. They watched the small plane take off, flying toward the distant horizon. They didn't scream. They didn't run, because they understood. Luna never really left. She lived on in them. In this way, they didn't attack senselessly. In the way they respected their kind. In the way they not only hunted, but loved. And somewhere far away, in a new land, one day, other tiger cubs would learn that lesson too. Because love never dies. It's just passed on forever. Do you believe in the magic of love? Do you believe that one small act of compassion can change a life and a generation? Thank you for taking the time to follow this story until the end. It proves that you are a person with a big heart, believing in love, compassion, and the miracles that life brings. From Luna, we learn that love is not limited by species or instinct, but comes from the purest connection, where a dog can become a mother to tigers, where kindness can change fate. What do you think about this story? If you had to rate it from 0 to 10, how many would you give it? Leave a comment to let me know how you feel. And if this story has touched your heart, please click like, not only to support Luna, but to spread the message of love to more people. Please share this story, because who knows, someone might need a ray of light to believe in the goodness of the world. Want to discover more amazing stories that can change the way you see the world? Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next part, where the impossible becomes reality. A new story, a new lesson, and an emotional journey are waiting for you right ahead.